Gentlemen, start your engines. How many of you have ever heard those famous words in person? Some of you are scratching your heads right now, and some of you know exactly what I'm talking about. That's right, NASCAR. I know some of you are thinking, really? NASCAR? I mean, all they do is drive around in a circle really fast. That can be so boring. Who would watch that for 3 hours? Well, I'm here to tell you I was one of you a mere 4 years ago. That wasn't until I met my husband, a die-hard Jeff Gordon fan. It was me just sitting down and watching it and learning from him telling me what was going on. Then I picked a driver and I started getting into it. It was, oh, my guy's going to beat your guy, or, ooh, my guy just pushed your guy off the track. So it can be very fun if you let it be. So over the years, I have learned that NASCAR is not only just cars going fast in a circle, like some might think, and like I did think. It is a very strategic sport and is much more than just them going in a circle. During this speech, I will discuss how NASCAR got its start, some of the different tracks and races, and the point system that determines who is the winner at the end of each year. The history of NASCAR starts with the founder, Bill Francis Sr. He was born in D.C. in 1909 and was a self-taught mechanic. He dabbled in the banking industry but found out that that was not for him. So he returned to motocross sports when he moved to Daytona Beach. This was in the 1930s. He got really frustrated. He was a race promoter, but he got really frustrated with the promoters who would offer big sums of money for the racers, which he raced in the series too, in the races also. But they would offer big paydays and then they would take off with the money and the racers would never see the money. So he decided that they would benefit better if they had a structured system with rules and everything set out for the drivers to benefit better from. So in December of 1947, he got all these people together in Daytona Beach and tossed out the idea of starting NASCAR. So the NASCAR official birthday is February 21st, 1948, which is the day of the very first race. When most of you think of the NASCAR, they are referring to the stock car races and the Sprint Cup series. Now, NASCAR is an acronym which stands for the National Association of Stock Car Auto Racing. So NASCAR is a sanctioned body which oversees 3 different types of series across the country. The 3 series are the Sprint Cup, the Nationwide Cup, and the Craftsman Truck Series. For our purposes today, we're only going to talk about the Sprint Cup. The cars are built from the ground up in this series, and they are based on 4-door American-made cars. For example, like the Dodge Charger, the Ford Fusion, Chevy Monte Carlo, and the Toyota Camry. These cars are much different, and they are definitely built for racing. For example, these cars generate about 750 horsepower once they're finished. By comparison, a showroom 2007 Chevy Corvette only generates about 400 horsepower with their V8 engine. So these cars are definitely faster and built to go very fast in a short amount of time. Today, the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series features 36 races on 22 different racetracks. 34 of those races feature all left turns, which are circle tracks. 2 races are held on what is known as road tracks. The tracks vary in size, to a massive 2.6 miles, which is Talladega, to a small half-a-mile track, which is at the Martinsville Speedway. Based on the size of the tracks, they are categorized in different categories. There's the short track, the intermediate, the super speedway, and the road courses. At these races, we have this right here, which is one of my visual aids. It shows you each individual track, what they look like on this side, tells you how long they are and what category they are. So now for the races. How does one qualify for the races anyway? Well, each week, each driver has to qualify before they race to see where they place and where they'll start the race. There's 1 to 43. It's because there's 43 drivers. So the team, which is usually a group of 3 cars, picks a person to go and draw a number. The person who draws a number will draw a place in which they'll qualify. This is very strategic and can benefit or harm the driver. The longer the track and the longer the day that they go, the cooler the track gets, which makes their time often longer. So they go around the track twice, and whichever is the fastest lap time they use for their qualifying time. This can be, NASCAR gets it down to 1/100th of a second. This is very meticulous. So this is based on their lap times is how they place. The biggest Sprint Cup race of the year is Daytona 500. It is the first race of the year and is the most widely known and the most widely attended of all the NASCAR races. No matter the track, though, each race is worth the same number of points towards the Sprint Cup championship. So what goes into winning the Cup? Well, the points system goes into effect. Points are awarded throughout the season to each driver. Bonus points are awarded throughout the year. You get 5 points for leading laps, 5 points for the most laps led, and you get more points for winning the race, obviously. So, when the drivers, and based off of these, the drivers are ranked. Now, towards the end of the year, the last 10 races are based on the race, what's called the race for the chase, which is the top 12 drivers of the year for the first 26 races are then wiped clean. All the points are wiped clean. They each start out with 5,000 points. Now, based off of their 5,000 points, however many races they won, they get an additional 10 points added for each race they win of the year. So you can get an idea. This is what the stat board looks like. I know you probably can't really see it that well. But as you can see, it has the number that the driver is ranked in the series at this time, their name, how many points off. As you can see, my driver is number 2. So it tells you how many points he is from the lead. And then it tells you all the different statistics, like how many points he was awarded for each thing, how much money he has even made this year, and all sorts of interesting stuff if you wanted to know all that. So, now that you know a little bit more about NASCAR and the sport of racing, I encourage you to get to know a little bit about a driver and pick a favorite. There is a perfect match for everybody. Second, attend a race in person. There is nothing like a race in person. A NASCAR race is a full 5-sense experience. There's bright colors, the smell of brake dust and rubber, the sounds of engines and screaming fans, the taste of cold beverages, which is mostly beer, on a hot day spent in the sun with your friends, and last but not least, the feeling of the rumble in your seat as the cars race past you at over 200 miles per hour. You'll be hooked. I know I am.